Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Papa's podcast, where we're unedited. Today, we're going to talk about. We're actually going to switch it up because I had some comments of people asking, "Hey, can it be a little bit more football than baseball?" And we'll start off with football, and there's going to be a lot of football we're talking about. So buckle up. I'm also going to do a special segment called Butt Dial, and I'm actually going to call one of my friends unexpectedly and ask them a question and see if they can answer it, and see if they get mad at me calling them. All right, but first topic, actually, if you've been keeping up with the sports news, Saquon Barkley, was actually for the Giants was actually going to hold out a little bit, and him and the other running backs that were getting screwed with their contracts, they actually had a call, like a call or a virtual meeting about them getting screwed over by their teams as far as making money by being the less appreciated position on the team. And running backs are a dime a dozen. You can always get a good running back in the draft. But for the ones, the Saquon Barkleys, the Josh Jacobs, those type of guys, Tony Pollard's. I mean, I'm not sure if he's that good, but Tony Pollard, but he's coming back from an injury. So we'll see from there. With Tony Pollard, he plays for the Cowboys, just had an ACL injury. But we don't know if he's going to be that good, so he might not even be worth the money. Everybody say hi to Mallow. Hello. I say hi to everybody. She's making a special appearance here on the Papa Pod. But as far as running backs go, but then Barkley actually gave in. He's like, I'm just going to take a 1-year, $11 million deal, which was only $1 million more than what the tag was that he turned down. But he's also, when he's doing that, he's screwing the other running backs. Because the other teams aren't going to, the Raiders are not going to assign Josh Jacobs for $11 million. The Cowboys aren't going to sign Pollard for $11 million. They could probably sign Zeke for $11 million, and he's actually a proven running back, but Pollard is not. So, I mean, when you have like this running back community, they're all supposed to stick together. And when one decides to be greedy and just go on, I think Barkley's being greedy, and who knows he can be tagged next year by the Giants. And it's still going to be for like a $10, $11 million a year, but he's not going to be able to get another contract with another team just for the stunt he pulled. So if he would have stayed, committed to his word, stayed, committed to the running back room, not played this year. I mean, yeah, it might have hurt him, but you can stay in shape by not playing. Or the Giants could have actually signed him for a long-term deal towards the middle of the season, or beginning of the season when they realized, oh, I need Saquon. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Saquon and Giants a bit later on, but right now I'm going to actually move on to the Commanders. They sold for $6.05 billion. Daniel Snyder has to pay $60 million for some illegal stuff that he's done, but $60 million when you're getting $6.05 billion is like $60 to the normal person. So he really didn't get punished at all. And the Commanders aren't going to be that good anyway. Not this year. Maybe next year they might be a little bit better with the new owners, Magic Johnson and that guy, Josh Harris. He's actually the owner of the 76ers. He turned his back on Philly and decided, I'm just going to buy, the rival for the Eagles, one of the rivals. And I don't know how that's going to sit with Philly fans. The Sixer fans are rough. They're like Philly. They're all Philly fans. I mean, they're all still Eagle fans. They're still the Phillies fans. But Philly in general is a tough city. I'm not sure if he will actually be liked anymore. I mean, I don't know if he's going to get any more free cheesesteaks or anything there in Philly. But he did it to himself. He just, if you have that much money, well, we can pay. It's him and Magic Johnson, a couple of other minority owners. If you can pay $6.05 billion, I don't think you really care about a free cheesesteak. But we'll see how good he is as far as a football, being in the football world, as far as, getting talent for the Commanders. Training camp opened this past week. Cowboy Zach Martin's holding out. Hopefully he's still, he's true to the guard community, and he stays true to his word, and he's going to hold out so he gets more money. But, he's going to be a key for the Cowboys. If he isn't playing, Dak Prescott will suck, even worse than he did last year, because he's a guard. And if they don't have a guard as good as Zach Martin to stop that pass rush up the middle, Dak Prescott's going to run for his life. So it's just, even more so, or he might even throw the ball up for grabs like he did last year. Had, 17, 18 interceptions, led the league, and he only played 10 games. So, I mean, it's just a bad situation for the Cowboys. Pollard's coming back with a torn ACL, MCL, so we don't know how he's going to be. Then when you got your best lineman, best offensive lineman holding out for more money, good for him, because he's earned it. Offensive line is de-appreciated, even though the best teams have the best offensive lines, like the Chiefs, the Eagles, they always have the best offensive lines, and they always have the best records in their divisions and their leagues. Hence, that's why they made the Super Bowl last year, because they have the best linemen in the league in each conference. But as far as training camp goes, and we got, the Eagles were in training camp, Chiefs are in training camp. The preseason games will be starting soon. I haven't heard any more news as far as like any big news other than Saquon signing his 1-year, $11 million deal for the Giants, and Zach Martin not he's holding out for more money in the guard community. But again, that's a big loss. If he doesn't play, that's a big loss for the Cowboys. But I have a segment called Key Players. It's actually going to be key. It could be players, coaches. It could be anything up for the team. So I got some coaches. I said players here, but I got some coaches in here too. For the key players / coaches for the Chiefs. First is Isaiah Pacheco and Creed Humphrey. First of all, Isaiah Pacheco's he's got to have a good second season, a good second year. He had a good rookie season, but he wasn't the best. He didn't impress me much. Maybe this year he'll be better. But if Creed Humphrey, that's the second player to watch for keys for the team. If he decides to be better than he was last year, which he was probably the best center in the AFC last year. So I mean, if he's better than that, well then Pacheco is going to have a good season. So it's all up to the offensive line of all these teams I'm going to talk about to see, like, there'll be the keys, for the for each team for victory or defeat. For the Eagles, I got Jordan Davis on the defensive line. He's a second-year player. He's smack dab in the middle. He's a beast. He's huge. If he can disrupt the middle of the line, well then, other teams' running games, the quarterbacks, everything, the blocking schemes are going to be all screwed up if Jordan Davis can come around and play to his potential. And then I got the offensive line for the Eagles. They're the best offensive line in the NFC, hands down when they're healthy. That's why they made the Super Bowl last year, is because of the O-line, and they all stayed healthy. But when they all healthy, like Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, they're going to have Cam Jurgens at guard this year. I mean, if they're all healthy, Jalen Hurts is going to go even to another tier. He's going to go up another tier, and he's going to play another MVP level season. So it all depends. I'm not going to say Jalen Hurts, because I had a question actually in comments. They said, what is the key for the Eagles? But name a key player or two key players for the Eagles but don't include Jalen Hurts. Because that's just a given right there. I mean, and that goes for any team as far as the quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is a key for the Chiefs. Jalen Hurts is a key for the Eagles. But the question from this podcast listener, he wanted to know what was the other key factors besides Jalen Hurts for the Eagles, and I believe it's Jordan Davis for the defensive line and the offensive line. If they both are key, they're both playing well, the Eagles should be tops in NFC again. I got the Patriots. For the Patriots, I got Mac Jones at quarterback, and I got Bill Belichick the coach. Now, however Mac Jones plays, that'll help Bill Belichick. And also, I'm going to put in Bill O'Brien there. He's actually a new offensive coordinator. So I'm going to throw 3 in there. Depends on how Bill O'Brien calls his plays. I mean, during Bill Belichick's best offensive years, with Tom Brady, Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator. That's when they won, all their Super Bowls. Bill O'Brien was there for a few of them, but I think he was there for like the later ones. But again, I mean, Bill O'Brien, former Penn State coach, former Houston Texans coach, he can actually go in there and hopefully make Mac Jones better. If not, Ziggy's going to be a quarterback before the end of the season. But if Bill Belichick and Bill O'Brien can actually come together, get a good game plan for Mac Jones in the offense, I think Mac Jones could be a comeback player of the year candidate. Who knows? And if that happens, then the Patriots will be actually in the running for a wild card spot in the AFC. For the Cowboys, I got Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons. Again, Dak Prescott's a key. With or without Zach Martin, Dak Prescott's going to have to play better than last year. He plays better than last year. I mean, they still finished 12-5, but they lost in the divisional round to the 49ers. So, I mean, if he plays well better than he played last year, just a little bit better, who knows? They could win the division. They could even go further than the divisional playoffs. I doubt it. But we'll see how that goes. And then I got Micah Parsons on the defense. If he continues to wreak havoc on the other team's offenses, interrupts the game plan, sacks the quarterbacks. If he keeps it up, at least the Cowboys will have one of the best defenses in the league, if not one of the best offenses. Then I got the Dolphins. Key for them is Tua. First of all, his key is actually stay healthy. If he stays healthy, watch out. Again, we're unedited, uncut. So this is all, you hear me smoking my cigar, drinking my beverage, you're going to hear it all. Dogs barking, you're going to hear it all. But again, for the Dolphins, it's going to be Tua and Tyreek. If Tua can stay on his feet and not get concussions every game, if Tyreek can run past the defense and catch the ball, I think that however the Dolphins' offense goes, that's how the team's going to go. If the Dolphins' offense doesn't go, well, then the team's not going anywhere. Plus, they're in a really hard division there in AFC East. The Giants, I got Daniel Jones and Barkley. How Barkley plays, Daniel Jones will play good. Because that's Daniel Jones had a really good season last year. Yeah, it was his contract year. But without Barkley, Daniel Jones isn't much of anything. And that's proven. Now, as far as, of course, there's other factors too. But, as far as Barkley playing, as far as Barkley goes, Daniel Jones will go with him. Barkley gets hurt, Daniel Jones is done. That's all there is to say. The Jets, I got Aaron Rodgers, and I got the O-line for the Jets. As long as the O-line can keep Aaron Rodgers up and Aaron Rodgers can play at MVP level, the Jets will win a wild card spot. I don't know if they're going to win the division because I still think the Bills are going to win it. But at least they could make a wild card. We could have 3 or 4 teams from the East, AFC East and AFC, making the playoffs this year. So watch out. That could be a really tough division. I got the 49ers. Their keys is stop whining and crying about the NFC Championship game last year and start worrying about this season. Maybe have somebody better than a backup tight end blocking for Brock Purdy so he doesn't get hurt. But Brock Purdy is actually one of my keys as long as he stays healthy. He played really good last year. Defensive coaches will have some material this year to actually game plan against them. So that'll be interesting to see. They didn't really have much time last year because he was just early, third or fourth, fifth game of the season. He comes in. Defensive coaches can't really game plan around him because they don't really know him. But this year they have a whole off season to do that. So he's gonna have to turn up a notch. He's gonna have to adjust to the defenses, and we'll see if he can do that. Then I got Kyle Shanahan again. His game planning to keep his quarterbacks on their feet and not get hurt. That's gonna be big for him. Okay, if he can do that, they're still gonna have a really good defense. If he can keep the quarterback upright on their feet and playing every game, they're gonna be a tough team to beat. And then for the Lions, I got Jared Goff and I got Aiden Hutchinson. Jared Goff for the offense, of course, he's the quarterback. And Aiden Hutchinson's in his second year. He was like defensive rookie of the year last year. So, I mean, if those two play great in a prospective offensive defense, I think they could win that division. I really do. So now I'm actually going to, this segment here is going to be called a butt dial. I'm actually going to call a friend of mine here unexpectedly. Let's see how this goes. Let's see. And, I'm going to ask him who he thinks is going to win the Super Bowl. So we'll see here in just a second. I'm calling him right now. Yeah, what up, T-Rizzle? How you doing?
Not too bad. What's going on?
Well, nothing. I'm doing a podcast right now, and I want you to say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, there we go. So I just wanted to call and ask you, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl and why?
I think it's going to be Cincinnati now.
Oh, you think it's?
The whole storyline because it's all rigged anyway. So Burrow is going to come back just in the nick of time to pull it out for Cincinnati.
I was going to say, Burrow got hurt at practice today. Yeah, well, just like Mahomes last year with that fake ankle injury, right? Great. No, I thought you were going to say Chiefs. You threw me a curveball there for a second.
I don't know.
Oh, so it's every other year you're going to win? Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing my 4th episode here. I'm talking football first, so I hope you're happy.
About time.
I know. I got baseball here coming up here soon because I got the Chiefs though, key players for each team, and I got the Chiefs, Pacheco and Creed Humphrey. They're going to be the key players to their success this year. What do you think?
I like the Creed Humphrey pick, but I also want to add in Trey Smith, my boy from Tennessee. Big shout out to him. He's also going to be a big impact on that line.
Let's hope, right? And then you'll keep. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my phone's freaking out. But yeah, I mean, with that offensive line, maybe Mahomes won't have to fake an ankle injury this year. What do you think? It's Papa. So, but then the Eagles, I got Jordan Davis and their offensive line. Who do you think's got to be the key players besides Jalen Hurts? Because that's a given. Who do you think is going to have to be the key players for the Eagles?
Revamp defensive line for you. It's got to be.
What, the Alabama Crimson Tide defensive line?
Yeah, Georgia.
Oh yeah, Georgia. Sorry, it's Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. I don't know what I was thinking. Georgia. I was looking at Mac Jones. That's why I said Alabama. I'm looking at his name. Because that's the Pats. I got the Pats. I got Mac Jones and Belichick being the key players. Who do you think? Mac Jones? Yeah, I think Mac Jones. I don't. None of us even care about the Patriots, do we?
Not really.
You and I don't. Yeah. Dave does, but you and I don't care about the Patriots.
Yeah.
But then I got the Dolphins. Your store manager likes the Dolphins. I got Tua and Tyreek.
On the Saints. They come marching in.
No, nobody from the South is even on here. Nobody cares about the South.
Okay.
The same thing with the AFC. Nobody's cares about the AFC South either.
About Derek Carr, and that's what's important.
Oh, Derek Carr with the Saints. He'll be the key. How's that? He'll be the key.
Thank you.
All right. But hey, I'll let you go. I just want to let you have your thoughts on the Chiefs. Maybe I'll call you again down the line.
Let somebody with some saneness come onto that program.
True.
All that crazy stuff.
All the crazy stuff like the Chiefs ain't gonna make the playoffs. That kind of. I did change it though.
You did, but it took you a while to get there.
Yeah, I did change my mind. But the Jets on the last one here, I got the Jets. I got Rodgers and O-line. You think Rodgers is going to be a key player for the Jets?
I think Rodgers is the most overrated player in the entire league, and I think if they do good, it's because of their defense.
Well, yeah, they got a good defense. Yeah, Sauce Gardner. Yeah, they got pretty good defense there. They had a good defense last year too. It didn't have a quarterback. But no,
quarterback this year, but their defense carries on. They make the playoffs out first round.
You think? We'll make the wild card, right?
Yeah, they'll make a wild card.
Yeah, and they'll lose to somebody in the wild card. We don't know who that is going to be yet, but I do actually have, you could have 4 teams in the AFC East making the playoffs.
That could happen.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We had 3 teams last year. Yeah, we had 3 teams: Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants last year. Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, I think maybe just 3 teams will make it. I don't think the Dolphins will make it. It could be the Bills, Pats, and Jets could make it. Now it depends if Tua, right? Tua's got to be healthy if he's
currently.
Yeah, currently, exactly. I think week 3 he'll be in the injury report. Week 3.
I mean, this league can be 100% flipped around 5 weeks into the season, and you don't know who's the best team until injuries start happening.
Oh, exactly. Till like halfway through, 8 or 9 weeks, right? All right, buddy. Well, I was not good talking to you, T-Rizzle.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, Papa.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. All right, that was T-Rizzle. Thank you, T-Rizzle, for coming on the show. and then giving your thoughts and everything on the football season coming up. I'm going to actually try to do that weekly. Every episode, I'm going to try to call somebody different with a different topic and get their opinions on different things. So hopefully everybody will be as cooperative and awesome as T-Rizzle was there. So now football's done. All right, I know we got training camp. They're starting, but baseball is actually in the full swing. We just ended the All-Star game. The second half of the season is starting, and now all the playoff teams, and it's only like a few days away from the trade deadline. So you got the playoff teams starting to round off, and round up into the playoff picture. But for right now, I'm going to give the stats, the standings. In the East, the Braves are still the best team in baseball. They're leading the East. The Phillies are second, but they're 10 games back. So as far as the division goes, I think the Braves have that division wrapped up pretty good. But you never know; they could choke like the Mets did last year towards the end of the season, and the Phillies could just go on fire like they did last year. You never know, and then win the division. Who knows? But right now, I'm just concentrating on that wild card for the Phillies. In the Central Division, we got the Brewers leading it barely by a game and a half over the Reds. They're the only two decent teams in that division. The Cubs are actually picking it up. They're 6.5 back of the Brewers, but I mean, and they're only 4.5 out of the wild card actually for the Cubs. So they're still in the thick of things. So who knows if they're going to be selling or buying? Nobody knows. But I do know the Brewers just acquired Carlos Santana today. He's going to be really smooth over there at first base. So we'll see how that works out for him. I'm not sure who the Pirates got. Probably some prospect that nobody's going to care about in about 4 or 5 years. In the West, like the Dodgers are actually winning that division now, not the D-backs. D-backs are actually cooling off like I thought they would. I did say I said the Padres will win that division. Well, the Padres suck. All right, but they're only 49. They're 10 games back. Padres are, so they're not going to win the division. In fact, I think they're going to sell, and they're going to probably trade Juan Soto. And don't be surprised if the Phillies don't trade for him. We don't need him, but they want him. And in the National League wild card, we got San Fran leading that. They got San Fran, Philly, and the Reds are all in the wild card hunt. They're all leading it because there's 3 spots. The Giants are half game up on the Phillies and the Reds. They're a full game up, and we got the Marlins. They're a half game out of the second or third wild card spot, a full game out of the first place. So it's really tight there. And the D-backs are the same way, only half game. And then the Cubs, like I said, are 4.5 games out, and anything can happen if they don't, sell. Anything can happen. But hopefully the Cubs, they might get a Cody Bellinger. He's their best outfielder. He could win comeback of the year for the player. He could win that this year. Who knows? He's having a heck of a season. Now in American League, we do have a switch on the top of the East. The Orioles now, since the last time we talked, are actually leading that division. Other than the Rays are second with a game and a half back. And then we got the Blue Jays 5.5, Red Sox 7, and the Yankees 8. And that division is actually everybody over 500 by at least 5 games or more over 500. And that is actually the best division in all of baseball. But I don't think, maybe the Rays I think the Rays and the Blue Jays will make the playoffs. I don't see the Red Sox or Yankees making it right now. In the Central, again, the Central divisions of both conferences are weak. The National League Central is weak. American League Central is weak. The Twins are leading it. They're at 54-50, but they're ahead by 2 games over the Guardians, who are exactly at 500. The Guardians played the Phillies tough. They took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. I was very upset because that was a very winnable series for the Phillies. But then the Phillies come back and took 2 out of 3 from the Orioles, which is weird. I can't understand it. How they can, lose to a mediocre team 2 out of 3, but then beat the second best team in baseball 2 out of 3. It's just weird to me. I have no idea. But in the West, they've got the Rangers still leading it, but the Astros, who I predicted would win that division, they're actually only a game out. This is like current standings as of today. So that's the current standings. And then when you got the Angels, who said today that they're not going to trade Shohei Ohtani. They're not going to trade him. They're gonna keep him and try to make the wild card, which is because they're only like 3 out of the wild card in the American League. So they could just make a run. Mike Trout comes back. They got that Giolito from the White Sox pitcher. So they got him. He's pretty good. They need to get some more pitching because that's been their bugaboo. It hasn't been their offense. They've had some good hitters over there, some good offensive players, but it's their pitching and their defense that's been the bugaboo. And then, like it's the wild card, we got the Rays leading that. They're up the first spot, the wild card, they're up by 4 games over the Astros. The Astros are in the second spot, up on a game of the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays in the third spot, up a game and a half on the Red Sox. I don't see the Red Sox and the Yankees making it, but I do see the Angels, jumping over those 2 teams, and possibly making a run at the wild card to the Blue Jays. But as it stands right now, and who knows, the Astros could overtake the Rangers in that division, so it could be the Rangers winning the wild card or being a second place wild card for that one. So that is your baseball updates. I'm not going to have any pro wrestling updates tonight. I'll have that next week closer to the SummerSlam. I don't know what the final card is. I will have predictions. Also coming up in future, college football is going to be starting soon. That starts late August to early September, I believe, right before the NFL. I am going to have like power rankings in college football. I don't see the Tennessee Volunteers doing anything this year, but I do see Penn State doing something. So T-Rizzle, I know you're a Tennessee Volunteer fan. It's going to be rough because you don't have your quarterback from last year. He's gone. He's in the NFL now. I want to thank everybody who's actually been following the Big Mama's House podcast. Everybody's been commenting, having questions. I want to thank everybody for following us and listening to our shows. We're only going to get bigger and better. Like tonight, we just had that for my first segment called Butt Dial that went really well. So I want to thank you, T-Rizzle, for doing that for me. And again, we're going to have more segments coming up. We're going to have more different things coming up with the Big Mama's House episodes with the kids, with Mama, and with me. We're going to have me and Lizard are going to have our Days of Our Lives episodes coming up. We're still going to be doing those. We're going to have politics. There's always stuff going on in the world. In fact, I want to bring up something right now about the whole Jason Aldean. I'm not going to say he's wrong. I'm not going to say he's right. I don't agree with it. And I'm going to call him a big old fat liar because he's not from a small town. He's from Macon, Georgia, which is the biggest city except for Atlanta in Georgia. I looked it up because I wanted to be correct. But yeah, I mean, he's not even from a small town. So what in the heck would he know? Me, on the other hand, I am from a small town. It's called Light Street in Pennsylvania, and it's not very big. No, I don't even think it has 1,000 people in it. And Mama just told me that she grew up in a town of 10,000 people, which I beat her because my town's smaller. And it's not always like that in small towns. No, it was a town. Light Street was a town. It was a street. It was a street with a lot of lights. And that's why they call it Light Street. Don't you mouth off, Mama. You're making that pie. Make that pie, Mama. Anyway, well, I just still want to thank everybody for listening in. We're going to have more on the Jason Aldean. We're going to have like opinions and everything for everybody here in the house, but that'll be a later episode. Maybe next couple episodes, who knows. But, we always have stuff planned. But until next time, like I said, next episode for Papa's Pod, it's going to probably be, today, Thursday. It'll be next week, maybe the weekend. But you just never know, depending on what happens in sports. The trade deadline, like I said, is coming up. That's going to be huge for baseball teams like the Phillies, like, the Cardinals. They're selling. They're no good this year. But I heard they're not going to sell Goldschmidt or Arenado. They're going to keep them and build around them for next year. But again, that's going to come up on my next episode. I'm going to have it'll probably be a Tuesday. It'll probably be at the trade deadline day. I'll be taping this, so you'll be hearing all about the trades and everything that night. All right. So I just want to thank you, everybody, again. Again, use your turn signals. Make sure there's no crowbars underneath the hood. That makes your car accelerate. Just take care of your vehicle, take care of your family, be nice, and remember, Jason Aldean is not from a small town. Thank you.